Alright, before it gets too late, I thought this would be an interesting thing to talk about after Ryan Rollins. Well, I guess we gotta go all the way to the front. Ryan Rollins just re-signed with the Milwaukee Bucks. He actually had a really stellar year. It's a 3-year deal, if I'm correct, going off the dome right now. But everyone's gonna say, oh, Giannis should leave, Giannis should do that. But for the current landscape in the NBA, the East is wide open. The entire NBA is wide open. And if you look around the league, there isn't a team outside of maybe the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder that could put together a package that wouldn't entirely gut their team and their draft assets. So to me, when you look at this, it makes the most sense for a team like the Milwaukee Bucks to stay with Giannis, or Giannis to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. But do you think he should stay? Obviously, that's the base question. And I think teams are under the assumption that he is going to stay. Now, this was a team that last year they were in the top half in both statistics. Yes, not in the top 10, but 11th in offensive rating, 12th in defensive rating. Same things to go with their points per game and opponents' points per game, 11th and 13th, respectively. Say what you want about Doc Rivers. I actually felt like he was a better coach this year than he had been in years past. So, with all of that said, what do you think needs to be done? Do you think they've done enough to keep him here? As I had mentioned earlier, I think there isn't a team to allow themselves to be put in a position to truly get Giannis. They go to the next level. I also think multiple things are that he values being a local guy. I also do believe that he's going to see how this goes this year and probably wait till next offseason when more teams have cap space available. And I really think that's what's holding it back from being a true tipping point. I think next offseason, if we're here again, he's gone because there's going to be more free agents, more money to do, and people have now seen what they were able to do with the Kevin Durant trade, which became that 7-team sign and trade, and all those big old deals were able to be put together in that deal. But let's talk about it. So, what did the Milwaukee Bucks need to do? John Horst, the general manager for the Milwaukee Bucks, needed to address a few things this offseason. Their offensive glass. They let Brook Lopez walk because, no offense to Brook, but Brook wasn't the same guy that he used to be. All right, he's a little slower. And just to go back to the last line, my apology, they weren't a good rebounding team. I think that also has to do with Bobby Portis missing a large part of the season, but still, it wasn't how it used to be. And I know Miles Turner doesn't address that, but Miles Turner does address the next thing is that this was a team that defensively, Brook Lopez had lost a few steps, and getting a guy like Miles Turner, who's going to be the perfect pick and pop trail guy. I also think Giannis playing maybe a little bit more center will allow them to become a more disruptive team, but they lacked size in a way, or movable size. I think Bobby Portis, again, being back is going to be huge. Hopefully they can get Bogey to be here, but Jericho Sims also was a great addition for them. I think his athleticism is going to help them in transition. And as we said, I know they didn't get a bunch or necessarily a rebounding big, but getting some people in the front court like Miles Turner, bringing back Jericho Sims, if they can get Markovich there, I think they did a good job with what was available to address it this year. And as a whole, getting better as a free throw shooting team, I think they did bring in shooters. It seems like micić is going to stay, but he could be bought out. Someone tell me what the situation is there. Nothing is official. I hope he stays. I think he's actually a really good second or third string point guard. But with Gary Trent Jr., Gary Harris, AJ Green, Taurean Prince, Kyle Kuzma, and Porter Jr., Scoot had a great end of the year. So I think their guard rotation, having a lot more shooters who can shoot off the ball, play off the line, and really push the pace and get some extra possessions in the second half, or in the half court settings, is huge for this team. And a lot of the guards they brought in, Ryan Rollins, even if micić does play or doesn't, I think he's a guy who does fit what Doc Rivers wants to do. Kevin Porter Jr., we saw what he did last year. Gary Harris, if he's healthy and plays, he can help that. I think Ajax is still a great defender. Then I don't know what to expect from Tyler Smith. Bogey, I think, is more potential to help be a, floor spacing kind of like Miras Teletovic type. And Taurean Prince being your 3-and-D forward. I think they have addressed some of the questions right here that they were looking at. As we said, get better as a shooting team, get better at free throw, get better in the front court, not only interior defensively, which is just going to help them become a better disrupting team. I think Ryan Rollins is also going to help out the perimeter, and they just, with the guards that they brought in, they're going to be a better perimeter team now, and that's going to allow them to have a tighter rotation, which with the injuries last year, I think that's another thing people are forgetting, and the players coming in and out of the rotation. And just having guys who can, shoot off run shooters off the line and be good on the defensive side of things, while on the other side, push the pace, be able to get some extra possessions, even if they're not shooting well, just take advantage of that. So, as I said, Ryan Rollins is back. They haven't updated on this, but goodbye, Chris Livingston, Damian Lillard. Same thing, it seems like Stanley Umid or muted. Stanley's gone. I probably butchered his last name, but Ryan's back. Brook Lopez and Pat were gone. They went to the Clippers and the Hornets. But as we said, they brought back Portis, which I think was solid. Same thing with Sims, Kevin Porter, Taurean Prince. And this is a solid squad. I think Gary Harris, if he's healthy, I really expect him to be a guy who gives you maybe 8 or 9 points a game and guard 2s and 3s, maybe some 4s. He's maybe a little slower, so maybe he is guarding 3s and 4s. I know he's more 6'5", maybe even 6'4", but Myles Turner, I know some people are going to say oh, they overpaid him and everything, but it was a move that they had to do. He's going to help raise the defensive ceiling, give them a anchor that with Brook Lopez and his age and his back, it just wasn't what it used to be. So the starting lineup, I think Gary Trent will start unless they really feel like AJ Green, kind of like Kuzma at the 3 right there. At this point, it does seem like Ryan Rollins is going to be the backup guard, third string, maybe Micić, and starter Porter. And yeah, I think it's not terrible. So my whole purpose is, for what they had available to them, I think the Milwaukee Bucks did a standout job this offseason. Look, they made lemonade with lemons. What were they supposed to do? They were able to squeeze out every ounce or juice droplet that there was available to them. And I think the biggest thing to look at that is just what could they do? They did what they could. Snaps. I just watched Legally Blonde and Legally Blonde 2 again for the first time in a while, so snaps to John Horst and them. I think at this point, like we said, they did what they could. It's going to be a wide open season. We saw it with this year. Depending on how it goes, we'll figure out if Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be a Bucks for long term or not. So that's what we're at.